during this session. Please fill the speaker card out, name and your affiliation, and you can use that to stand up and verbally give us your comments. Okay. Yes, and that's different from the question card, so it's being passed out right now for you. Okay, go ahead, Corey.
Thank you, Stacy. So I'm going to provide some background information in advance of the public hearing. And so the public hearing is specifically on Chapter 7, which is the Noise Compatibility Program for the Camarillo Airport Part 150 study. To get to that public hearing point, we went through 2 meetings in 2024, as Aaron mentioned. And the topic, the content for those meetings was the Chapter 5, which is noise abatement alternatives, and Chapter 6, land use alternatives. And that meeting was in June of 2024, and then we came back in October of 2024 with a draft noise compatibility program. So we met in this room, and we went through each of these measures and had a public comment period on the draft noise compatibility program. I will share here that the measures that were shared in October of 2024 and the measures that are in the noise compatibility program that is out for public review presently have not changed. We arrived at those noise compatibility program measures through some listening sessions and also technical conferences. So we convened a meeting and we said, what types of measures should we review? And we took those measures to a technical conference the following day and had technical experts look at those to screen them to determine whether or not they were viable to be moved forward. So as we've discussed previously and as noted in the study materials, the measures are at the top level grouped into two separate groups. Those are noise compatibility program measures that are eligible for inclusion for review by FAA, and then there are voluntary measures that will not be reviewed by FAA. So first, I'll go through the measures that will be reviewed by FAA. And as a reminder here, when we're talking about eligibility of measures, FAA's first question is, are there impacts within the 65 CNEL noise exposure contours? And if the answer there is no, we immediately have to dismiss some of the types of measures that we're able to include, because if they don't show an improvement within the noise contours, FAA will reject them. So this slide has a lot of text, but I'm going to go through each of the measures that are part of the proposed noise compatibility program, and this is the content or the subject for the public hearing. So the measures that we show on the screen here are the program management measures first. So that is continuing the airport's noise complaint handling system. So this is the VNOM system that was discussed previously. So this is a website portal where the public can submit noise comments. That is an ongoing measure, and it costs approximately $35,000 annually and is managed by the Department of Airports. The second measure is updating the noise exposure maps and noise compatibility program. The Part 150 study is a voluntary study that is undertaken by airports across the United States. The expectation from FAA is that once you enter into that program, an airport will continue to update these documents. So, for example, this is an update of the noise exposure maps for Camarillo Airport. The third measure is monitoring implementation of the Part 150 study. So as these measures, if these measures are adopted by the Board of Supervisors, there's an expectation that annually or even more frequently than that the Department of Airports will monitor implementation and make progress on these specific measures. The next group are land use management measures. So there's as I mentioned, there's noise abatement measures and there's land use measures. So one of the first measure is updating the general plan policies and maps. So as an outcome or output of this study is the noise exposure contours and flight track information. So the recommendation is to take the long range contour and incorporate it into the general plan for the city of Camarillo. The second measure is adopting a compatibility checklist. So when development is proposed, this is a similar role to the airport land use compatibility planning efforts by VTCT or VCTC. So this is at the planning level, the city planners are asking questions about proposed development and whether or not they would be exposed to high levels of noise. The third measure is updating the noise contours in the Ventura County Airport Land Use Compatibility Plan. A question was raised about this earlier. Here, we've actually gone beyond the noise exposure map requirements, which are a base year and a 5-year forecast. We've done a 20-year forecast noise exposure contour set, and those will be shared for local land use planning efforts. The next set of measures will be part of the county's noise compatibility program, but will not be submitted to FAA for review. Some of these are similar measures similar efforts to what Keith discussed earlier. So this is, making sure that the county's adopted noise compatibility program says that these are the items that the county is committed to doing. So that's dedicating full-time staff to manage and lead the noise abatement program, developing and distributing noise mitigation materials to local pilots, flight schools, and businesses, updating pilot publications to include current noise mitigation information, so that includes the ATIS radio broadcast, and then purchasing flight tracking systems to assist with identifying and tracking aircraft operations. So this is the VNOM efforts. And then meeting with local pilots, flight schools, and businesses regularly to communicate noise mitigation information and progress. The list continues here. So continuing these outreach efforts to allow the public to visit the airport and learn about operations. A lot of this evening has been dedicated to item 7, which is evaluating changes to jet approaches to Camarillo to help mitigate noise. Then other continuing efforts and other potential new areas that the Department of Airports is looking at is educating real estate agents and potential home buyers, that was one of our questions earlier, about Camarillo operations and its presence in the community. On an as-needed basis, the department is committed to evaluating noise monitoring. And then lastly, encouraging a full update to the Ventura County Airport Land Use Compatibility Plan. So this is working with the VCTC to update their land use compatibility plan to include those 20-year forecast noise exposure contours. Back over to Stacy who will formally open the public hearing.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Corey. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to our public hearing instructions here for you folks. I'm gonna read a formal statement that will go on record. Statement explaining the purpose of the public hearing on the Part 150 Noise Compatibility Program update for Camarillo Airport. So a lot of this information that I'm going to read is also up here for you. The Ventura County Department of Airports has prepared an airport noise compatibility program update for Camarillo Airport based on the requirements and guidelines of Part 150 of the Code of Federal Regulations. The Noise Compatibility Program update proposes noise abatement, land use management, and program management measures for the area surrounding the airport. The public hearing is intended to give the public the opportunity to present oral or written testimony in favor of, in opposition to, or neutral toward the Airport Noise Compatibility Program update. The public hearing is not a forum for debate of the issues. A written record will be made of all comments presented at the hearing. Responses to all comments will be prepared and included with the complete documentation of the final Noise Compatibility Program update. Additional written comments may be submitted by mail or through the project website until 5 p.m. on August 18th, 2025. These written comments will be included with the transcripts of the hearing and will be considered in the evaluation of the program. Okay, so with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. So folks, you have 2 minutes to stand up, and what we're going to do is we're going to position this podium here right in the middle, and we're going to ask that you line up there with your speaker card. Anybody would like to come on up, come stand behind me, and we'll get started.
Nancy Jellica, I'm a resident. Now, the airport is funded by the taxpayers? Is that owned and operated by? Oh, okay. Just curious. Okay. All right.
All right, how about I start it off again? So this point is where we are taking the comments. We can't comment. They'll be captured. So you're commenting on a noise compatibility program. They'll be captured, and then in writing, we'll respond to those. We also have on our website the ability to, for the next couple of weeks, to also do that. So if you think of something after tonight, you could go do that then. When the comments are then done, then we're going to open up questions, Q&A again, so you can come back and do that later.
Great, thank you, Keith. Okay, sir, yes, please. If you could say your name and your affiliation and then your comment.
Peter Finney, just resident. The comment is, it appears from what has been presented that there are no, all you can do is slap the hands of a pilot that flies and does not follow the rules. There needs to be some kind of penalty to actually punish pilots that do not comply with the rules that are put in place for noise.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else have a comment they'd like to share with us? Wonderful. Thank you, ma'am. If you could say your name and your affiliation.
Hi there, Wendy Nicoli, and I'm a resident. So my ask is that everyone's doing what they can to try to control the situation the best they can, and the ask is for the county to consider another way for the airport to be sustainable. It's been around a long time, as everybody knows. It's been around since the 40s, and it's been fine. And in the last few years, we've seen this increase in jet activity. So is there a way that it can do the things that are necessary, that are being, part of this business plan without the jets that have such a huge impact on people that live here? This is a small representation of the city because it's hard to make time to come to these things. It's hard to get up here and ask for things to be done. And it feels like you're fighting a beast that you can't control. And when we ask questions, there's just not a lot of actionable things that can happen that seem to benefit the people that live here. And that's the ask, is find a way to do that. A lot of us have been here a long time. There's a lot of residents. They're like, third, fourth, fifth generation that have been around, and this has never happened. So please, try to find a way to actionably mitigate the noise by reducing the jet activity, which has been an increase in the past few years. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Hello, if you can say your name and affiliation.
Certainly. Patty Finney, resident. I've been here almost 30 years. My husband's been here 55 years, 60 years, a long time. So we've been here a while. We live north of Sprouts, up in the hills. So in the time that I've been here, the jets, not even just the jets, the flights have just increased dramatically. I counted the other day when I was walking up the path at Charter Oak Park, 25 in like an hour and a half. I was counting them because I had to stop conversations with other walkers because we couldn't hear. They were flying that low. And these are not big jets, these are small planes. So this is happening, and there needs to be a way of stopping it. I understand the city benefits from the planes, but there is a trade-off in this. And I think most of us are at the point where this is not an acceptable trade-off, where we're having more money coming into the city to support these planes, but it's dramatically impacting the quality of life. And this is on the weekend. We're not even talking during the day or at night. This is all day. So I would really appreciate it if the Airport Commission and everybody takes a serious look at the impact of this increased amount of planes. I think my 2 minutes is probably up. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to make a public comment? Yeah, if there's nobody else in line, please, you can make a second comment. If you'd say your name again and your affiliation.
Wendy Nicoli, resident, and just to put it on the record, and I did submit into the online form, but maybe I submitted it in the wrong place. But I'd also ask the county to consider the dangers that we have, right? The increased safety risk that we take on by having these increase in private jets. As we all know, there's a tragic accident in San Diego in May. I think there was everyone on board passed away, and it actually took out at least 2 city blocks of military housing. Fortunately, no one on the ground was hurt. But when I thought about that, and that could happen in our community over Old Town, which that's where the map now goes, even with the different flight paths, the impact is catastrophic. So why would we take this on if we can avoid it? So that's asked to consider the safety risks as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, sir. If you could say your name and affiliation.
Peter Finney. One thing that hasn't been said, that I think the commission needs to look into, is development around the airport. You have Camarillo's putting in a new convention center. There's a new hotel. There's supposed to be another new hotel. Down Las Posas, just to the west of the convention center, on the other side of the outlet mall. There's development that's being attempted to go in there. This is housing, this is small business. The commission needs to take into account development that's going in around the airport, not just noise abatement over Old Town. That's part of it, but who's going to want to be at a convention having jets come over constantly while they're conducting sessions? Just something that needs to be looked into.
Thank you, sir. If you could say your name and affiliation.
I'm Nancy Jellica, and I'm a resident. I'd like to concur with this lady here. I'm the one that said that the constant planes coming over, I'm not kidding you. On the weekends, I counted it, one every 2,000. How can that be? It's dangerous, and they've already had the Simi accident. They just had the accident at Burbank. That guy was coming to the Camarillo airport, that last accident. So I'd love to find some way to work this out, because I don't, it's just not livable. You can't even talk. You can't go outside. They just come out one after another, one after another. Anyway, that's my comment.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that'd like to make a public comment tonight? If you'd say your name and affiliation, yeah, pull that down. Perfect.
Phyllis Anderson. I've been in Camarillo since 1962. I was here when the Air Force flew in and out, which was a scary thing. And it was kind of nice to know we were just going to have a common little airport here, and we kind of accepted that. But these big jets now is just almost, I am in the flight pattern on the runway practically. So it's, even though I think all of this has been beneficial, because I do think you've tried, you feel like your hands are tied by FAA, but I do think you're trying. I have noticed some of the pilots do, seems like cut their engine or something. I don't know if they can even do that, but and it has helped a little, but not enough. I don't know, our quality of life has really gone down the tubes with these big jets coming in. We learned to live with the small guys and appreciated these small pilots that like to fly around, but these are corporation jets that they should be paying a huge price to land in our airport. We should be rolling in money around here from them flying in and taking our airspace and our lives. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. If you'd say your name and affiliation.
Susan Mueller, resident. I wrote a letter, or before this, and I did mention, but I know this was more about noise, but also the pollution and emissions, of these jets, and quality of life. This is just so important. I know progress has to happen, but I mean, ever since COVID, anyone that can afford a jet is buying them because they don't want to fly commercial. And I think that's going to do nothing but increase. So the quality of life and emissions, pollution, that's concerning to me.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anybody else that would like to make a public comment? Okay, if there's no other comments, we're going to remind folks that you can also still submit your public comments through the website, or you can mail your comment in to the airport. Can we put that slide back up? Thank you. Give you guys the information on that. And you can also, if you don't want to stand up tonight, you can write your comment behind us here. We have some comment tables with comment cards out. You can provide your comment that way, and it will go into the public record. Okay, last call. Anybody else?